I would like to kick this off as sort of with a blueprint of what the show's going to be about, themes, purposes, scopes, all of that, which I've got right here. So themes. One of the themes that's a major component to the show is, and also pay no heed to my roommates talking in the back. They're a real talkative bunch. So one of the main themes is focusing on larger questions beyond just the things that are discussed here, but looking at things from a larger social framework. So ultimately incorporating ideas of how do human beings exist in a modern world where there's very large bodies that control and are in power or in a seat where they have coercive power. And how do people operate in a world where these bodies exist? How do we organize and maneuver through this? And I think one of the ways is by, now we have a better way of communicating with technology, but it's also caused quite a few problems. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to dive into there. Now, also, this show aims to look at not just modern thinkers, but also people way back in the past. So a lot of history, diving into things even going as far back as Thucydides and the Peloponnesian War. I believe that these older documents still hold great value in today's world, and when you look at, for example, if we're talking about Peloponnesian War, it's on my mind because I recently was reading it. When you look at the way that states use and undermine and subvert their opponents, which was sort of a new thing. I guess it was sort of a new invention in civilization at that time, in such a large way where it impacted tons and all these different city-states, and was also largely documented. That's the other main thing, is a lot of other warfare was not as heavily documented as the Peloponnesian War. There's a lot there that still points towards how people operate in today's world. So, for example, in Corcyra, when they captured all the prisoners from there and released them in an Athenian city to cause chaos, is still a practice that people could be using today. I mean, people have to be vigilant in these times, and it's all about seeking knowledge and persevering through all the confusion and coming out the other end with something at least that is of value. Okay, so got that out of the way. So let's get on to the real meat of what we're discussing today, which is, I have right here a book by Jocko Willink. Okay, and this is the Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. Now, my mother got me this for Christmas a couple years ago, and I didn't know who Jocko Willink was when I first got it, and I think I did get it in 2017. This book, somehow it was, I don't really understand, but it's a New York Times bestseller, so I'm pretty sure that lots of people were just buying this book up in bulk when it was first released. It was a smash hit. It's got 5 stars right now on Amazon, and I'm telling you, this book is absolute shit. I mean, there's little to no reason in spending time and reading this book. There's a little bit towards the end when he actually starts to talk about like workout routines, which is minimally interesting, but the whole thing is framed in a way that it's supposed to be meant for like newbies or beginners on some level, you know, people who are little, you know, nugget Martians mining away at culture, trying to find something that they can connect with. And yeah, I mean, to get onto that, like to boil it, to get further into that part, the first thing I guess is the aesthetic of it. So it's a black book. All the pages are black, all black, and it's filled with, here, this is right when you open up the cover, this black and white, fairly grainy, low resolution photos, and often blurry too. And it's normally all photos of Jocko Willink's dungeon, where he's working away, lifting weights, counting down the minutes to when he's gonna send his next blessing to the CIA and the Navy, and sending his blessing to them to make sure that they get the enemy, take him downtown. Right here, so here he is, and it's all this photography with white Roboto font over it, and that is the whole book, and it's divvied up into two parts. So the first part is the thoughts part, which is the way of discipline, and yeah, so the first part is, he divvies it up into like mind and body. So mind, physical, thoughts, physical. And the first part is by far the worst of the two. And could essentially be boiled down to Jocko Willink using his character, using his the extreme setting of him being a Navy SEALs, and using that to build tension while combining it with the literary prose of like any normal kind of self-help book that you would read. And a lot of self-help books, if you were to just analyze the text and take out the pathology of this man right here himself, you would get a run-of-the-mill, very normal self-help book where it's like about discipline. That's the main thing that he talks about. He opens up the whole piece about being smarter, better, faster, stronger, and ultimately free. So, free in what sense? In Jocko Willink's sense, his whole life revolves around him joining the army and going overseas and fighting an enemy. For regular people, though, he does not answer that. So that's also a question. That's something to take into account when viewing his work, listening to his podcast, and just keep that in your mind. You know.